The silence after they leave us echoes, a hollow space where unconditional love once thrived. We've all felt that desperate whisper. Where do they go? What if everything you thought you knew about the souls of these innocent creatures, about the very boundlessness of God's love, was a whisper away from being beautifully restored? Imagine Mel Gibson, the visionary who dared to show us Christ's raw truth, wrestling with this exact question, a plea born from profound loss. He received an answer, a revelation so overwhelmingly tender, so deeply compassionate, it will break your heart wide open. Then, it will mend it with an eternal love you never dared to imagine. This isn't speculation. This is a hidden truth, passed through a man uniquely poised to understand suffering and redemption. I remember the day it happened, the quiet that fell over my home like a shroud. It wasn't just a pet, it was a heartbeat, a shadow that followed me from room to room, a comforting weight on my lap. And then, suddenly, an absence. A hollow space where unconditional love once thrived. You know that feeling, don't you? That crushing weight in your chest, the silent ache in an empty house, the phantom pat of a paw that isn't there. I felt it, deeply, rawly. It leaves you whispering into the void, a desperate, almost childish plea. Where do they go? Does their essence just dissipate into thin air? Or is there something more for these innocent, loving creatures who filled our lives with so much light? The question gnawed at me, a relentless echo of grief and uncertainty. That pain, it wasn't just about missing a presence, it was a spiritual wound, a profound uncertainty that shook the very foundations of what I believed. I looked into their trusting eyes, those deep pools of pure, unadulterated affection, and I couldn't reconcile their boundless capacity for love with the idea of their simple extinction. Does God forget them? Does heaven, this grand tapestry of eternal love and glory, somehow exclude the very beings who taught us so much about unconditional affection? It felt like a betrayal of divine compassion, a glaring omission in the promise of eternal life. The thought that such pure, innocent souls might just cease to be, while ours are destined for eternity, felt wrong. It left me with a gnawing doubt, a heavy question mark hanging over my understanding of a merciful Creator. This wasn't merely a philosophical query for a quiet afternoon. It was a raw, emotional wound, a yearning for reassurance that the love we shared, the joy they brought, wasn't simply extinguished. It felt like a part of my own soul was searching for an answer, not just for myself, but for every heartbroken human who has ever cradled a beloved companion in their arms for the last time. We are told of God's boundless love, His intricate design for all creation, yet this one question often remains stubbornly unanswered, leaving countless hearts lost in sorrow. What if, just what if, there was a hidden truth, a revelation so overwhelmingly tender, so deeply compassionate, that it could finally mend this universal ache, restoring not just our hope, but our understanding of an eternal love we never dared to imagine. We've all felt it, haven't we? That crushing weight in our chest, the silent ache in an empty home that once buzzed with life, the phantom pat of a paw that isn't there, or the imagined purr against your leg. It's the profound, undeniable grief that descends like a heavy shroud when a beloved animal companion leaves us. They aren't just pets. They are family, confidants, silent witnesses to our most private moments, offering an unconditional love that asks for nothing in return. But when their time comes, a chilling question often haunts our sorrow, echoing in the quiet corners of our minds. Where do they go? Does their vibrant spirit simply dissipate? Or is there something more for these innocent, loving creatures who filled our lives with such pure joy? This isn't just a fleeting thought. It's a raw, emotional wound that demands an answer. A yearning for reassurance that the profound connection we shared isn't simply extinguished. This isn't merely a philosophical query to be debated over coffee. It's a spiritual wound, a profound uncertainty that shakes the very foundations of what we believe about divine compassion. We gaze into their trusting eyes, those deep pools of pure, unadulterated affection, and struggle to reconcile their boundless capacity for love with the idea of their simple extinction. Does God truly forget them, these beings who mirror His own unconditional love so perfectly? Does heaven, this grand tapestry of eternal love and glory, somehow exclude the very creatures who taught us so much about selfless devotion? It feels like a glaring omission in the promise of eternal life, a betrayal of the Creator's own intricate design. This unspoken anguish, this heavy question mark, burdens countless hearts, leaving us feeling lost and alone in our sorrow, searching for a sign. This universal problem, this gnawing uncertainty, extends beyond the fate of our animal friends. It touches upon our own understanding of existence, purpose, and the very nature of divine love. If such pure, innocent souls can simply cease to be, what does that imply about the boundless compassion we attribute to our Creator? It forces us to confront the brevity of time, the inevitability of loss, and the deepest human yearning for meaning that transcends the visible world. Each shared laugh, every quiet moment of comfort, every tender touch with our beloved companions becomes a poignant reminder of life's fleeting beauty, prompting us to ask, is there truly an eternal embrace for all that is good and loved? This collective ache, this shared search for solace, unites us in a profound, unspoken question that demands a tender, compassionate answer, one that can mend not just our hearts, but our very perception of eternity. I can only imagine the weight that must have settled upon him, a quiet, profound grief mirroring my own, yet perhaps amplified by a life lived so publicly. For Mel Gibson, the visionary, the man who peered into the abyss of human suffering for his art, the trigger wasn't a distant thought, but a visceral, heart-wrenching loss. Picture him, in the quiet solitude of his study, the air thick with unspoken sorrow, perhaps cradling the lifeless form of a loyal companion, a dog whose unwavering presence had been a silent anchor through years of triumph and turmoil. As the warmth faded from that beloved body, a question, primal and urgent, must have ignited within his soul. What now? Where does such pure, unconditional love truly go? It wasn't an academic query, it was an agonizing plea, a raw, human demand for an answer from the divine itself. A conversation forged in the crucible of faith and overwhelming loss, seeking a truth that would either confirm his deepest fears or unlock an unimaginable revelation. In the immediate aftermath, the silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the lively pitter-patter that once filled my days. I plunged into a desperate search for answers, hoping to quiet the relentless ache in my chest. You've been there, haven't you? Scouring internet forums, devouring books on pet loss, seeking solace in the shared grief of strangers. I spoke to friends, to family, even to spiritual advisors, each conversation offering well-meaning platitudes that felt like hollow echoes against the vastness of my sorrow. They're in a better place, they'd say, or you gave them a good life. But these words, however kind, never quite pierced the veil of uncertainty. They offered temporary comfort, a fleeting moment of shared understanding, but the fundamental question, where do they truly go, remained stubbornly unanswered, a phantom limb of my soul still reaching, still yearning for a truth that eluded every human explanation. The quest for peace felt like chasing smoke. My journey then led me down paths of rationalization, attempting to intellectually subdue the emotional storm. Perhaps, I mused, their purpose was simply to teach us love, to be fleeting beacons of joy, and then to gracefully exit, their energy returning to the earth. I delved into various theological texts, seeking definitive pronouncements, but often found only ambiguity or interpretations that felt cold, distant, and ultimately unsatisfying to a heart so profoundly wounded. Some argued for a soulless existence, a mere biological function, while others offered vague promises of a rainbow bridge that, while comforting in its imagery, lacked the spiritual gravitas I desperately sought. Can you relate to that internal struggle? Trying to reconcile logic with the raw, undeniable truth of your own feelings. It was an endless loop of hopeful inquiry and crushing disappointment. Each intellectual avenue leading back to the same empty space in my heart. The profound question still echoing, unanswered. The frustration mounted with each passing day, each failed attempt to find a satisfying answer. I felt like I was piecing together fragments of a broken mirror, hoping to see a complete reflection, but only finding distorted glimpses of what I longed for. The world offered countless ways to cope with loss, to move on, but none offered genuine peace about their fate, about the destination of that pure, unconditional love they embodied. It wasn't enough to simply accept their absence. I needed to understand their enduring presence, if such a thing existed. My soul yearned for more than human comfort, more than philosophical debate, more than the limitations of our earthly understanding. Have you ever felt that profound void, where every human attempt to fill it only highlights its depth? It became clear that the answers I sought wouldn't be found in books or conversations, but somewhere beyond, somewhere sacred, requiring a different kind of intervention. In the deepest valley of my sorrow, when the silence of my home pressed down like a physical weight, a profound weariness settled over me. I had exhausted every human avenue, every comforting platitude, every philosophical theory, yet the aching question in my heart remained a gaping wound. It was in that moment of utter surrender, when my spirit felt truly broken, that I instinctively turned inward, seeking a different kind of solace. I remembered whispers of a man, Mel Gibson, whose own journey through suffering and faith had forged a unique understanding of divine truths. His struggles, his artistic courage, his relentless pursuit of the sacred, they resonated with my own desperate search. Could a soul so attuned to the raw edges of human and divine love truly have found an answer where I had only found silence? The thought, a fragile flicker of hope, began to illuminate the edges of my despair, a silent prayer forming in the depths of my being. And then, as if an unseen hand had parted the heavy curtains of my grief, a presence began to form in the quiet space of my mind. It wasn't a physical apparition, but a profound, almost tangible sense of guidance, as though Mel Gibson himself, with eyes that had seen both the darkest human truths and the most radiant divine light, sat opposite me. His gaze, though imagined, was gentle, compassionate, bearing the quiet wisdom of one who has wrestled with angels and emerged with sacred scars. He didn't speak with words, but with an overwhelming current of understanding that flowed directly into my spirit, a mentor's quiet reassurance in the face of my deepest fears. A soft, ethereal light seemed to fill the room, not blinding but warm, like the first rays of dawn breaking through a long night, promising clarity. Could this truly be the turning point, the answer I so desperately craved? In that profound stillness, a truth began to unfurl, not in a sudden, thunderous revelation, but like a tender whisper echoing from the very heart of creation. It was a truth so overwhelmingly tender, so deeply compassionate, it felt as though the universe itself was sighing in relief. The weight on my chest, which had been a constant companion, began to subtly lift, replaced by a delicate warmth, a sense of being understood on a level far beyond human words. This wasn't merely comfort. It was the dawning of an eternal perspective, a glimpse into a love so boundless it encompassed everything, even the purest souls we had lost. The air around me seemed to thicken with a sweet, almost floral scent, a fragrance of peace and eternal promise. My heart, once shattered, felt as though it was being cradled, gently, lovingly, by a divine hand. 1. The first profound revelation unfurled. A truth both ancient and overwhelmingly tender, whispering solace to my wounded spirit. Every single creature, from the smallest sparrow, whose delicate fall is known intimately to the Creator, to the mightiest lion, carries within its being the sacred breath of God Himself. Their lives are not random occurrences, but intentional, beautiful expressions of divine creativity, each one precious and deeply cherished in His sight. They exist in pure, untainted innocence, unburdened by sin, guilt, or the agonizing complexities of human free will that often weigh us down. They are vibrant reflections of pure, unadulterated love, mirrors to paradise both lost and miraculously regained, living testaments to a primal, unblemished goodness that humbles us all. Does this not already quiet the anxious whispers in your soul, knowing their very essence is a divine masterpiece held in eternal regard? 2. The next truth deepened my understanding of creation's intricate dance. Each animal serves a sacred, indispensable purpose within the grand divine design, a role far beyond what our limited human perspective often comprehends. They are not merely subordinates or resources for our use, but co-inhabitants of God's magnificent earth, deserving of our profound respect, our diligent stewardship, and our unwavering compassion. Consider the intricate balance of an ecosystem, how the smallest insect plays a vital role in the flourishing of a forest, or how a majestic predator maintains the health of its prey population. Their existence is a deliberate thread woven into the vast, vibrant tapestry of life, each unique pattern contributing to the overall beauty and functionality of God's artistry. Their purpose extends beyond merely comforting us. They contribute to the glory of creation itself, silently testifying to the Creator's wisdom. Do we truly grasp the depth of their silent contribution to this living, breathing world, or do we often overlook their sacred place? 3. And then came a revelation that directly addressed the raw ache in my grieving heart, a balm for every soul that has ever whispered a final goodbye. The profound, unconditional love you shared with your animal companion is not an earthly illusion, a fleeting emotion destined to dissipate into thin air. No, this love, so pure and selfless, is a divine echo, a direct reflection of God's own perfect, infinite love. And such love, true love, is eternal. It does not simply vanish with the last breath, nor is it extinguished by the cold finality of death. Instead, it is woven into the very fabric of eternity, a sacred thread in the divine tapestry of all that endures. The tears you shed are not for nothing. They are a testament to a connection forged in the crucible of divine affection, a bond that transcends the veil of physical existence. Can you feel that truth resonating within you, assuring you that such a powerful, pure love could never truly be lost? 4. This understanding broadened further, encompassing a truth so vast it reshaped my entire perception of divine grace. Christ's sacrifice wasn't solely for humanity, as we often narrowly interpret it. It was for the redemption and profound renewal of all creation. The fallen world, groaning under the weight of sin, suffering, and decay, is destined not for annihilation, but for a glorious restoration. This means that every aspect of God's original perfect design, every innocent life touched by the shadow of a fallen world, will be made new. The promise of redemption extends beyond our species, embracing the trees, the rivers, the mountains, and yes, every creature that breathes. In that magnificent restoration, all things made good by God will find their perfect, harmonious place, cleansed and revitalized. Doesn't this vision of universal redemption expand your heart, revealing a God whose love leaves no beloved part of His creation behind, even in the grandest act of salvation? 5. Building upon that promise of redemption, a vision of sublime hope emerged. Imagine a new heaven and a new earth, not merely as an abstract concept, but as a vibrant, tangible reality where the lion lies down with the lamb, where sorrow and suffering are utterly no more. This isn't just a poetic metaphor. It's a divine blueprint for a renewed creation, where the harmony and peace that existed in the pristine Garden of Eden will be perfectly and eternally restored. In this glorious, verdant landscape, our beloved animal companions, in forms beyond our current comprehension, will be an integral, living part of that magnificent symphony. They will be alive and vibrant, free from pain, fear, or the ravages of time. Can you picture them? Running freely, their spirits untamed and joyous, in a world where every creature lives in perfect accord, reflecting God's ultimate design. It is a promise of profound peace for all, a sanctuary of everlasting joy. 6. Then came a deeply personal and comforting truth that resonated with the very core of my being. When an animal leaves this world, transitioning from our sight, they do not depart empty-handed. Instead, they carry with them the indelible imprint of your love, your kindness, your gentle care, and every tender moment you shared. This love is not lost in the ether. It is not forgotten. It is, quite miraculously, woven into the very fabric of eternity, a testament to the divine spark shared between species, a sacred memory held securely in the boundless heart of God Himself. Every scratch behind the ears, every shared secret, every comforting presence you offered, these are eternal acts of love. They become part of an everlasting narrative, a beautiful record of connection that transcends physical boundaries. Does this not fill you with a profound sense of purpose, knowing your love has an eternal impact, echoing beyond the veil? 7. Finally, the most tender, tear-inducing truth, the one that truly mended the gaping wound in my soul, sealed the revelation with a divine promise. While the exact form and timing remain a beautiful mystery, the promise of a loving God is not one of eternal separation, but of profound reunion. Trust in the boundless compassion that meticulously created them, that knows every hair on their head, every beat of their innocent heart. Believe, with an unwavering faith, that in His perfect timing, joy will indeed come in the morning, a joy so complete it will erase every tear. And with that joy, perhaps, will come a familiar wag of a tail, a comforting purr against your cheek, or a gentle nuzzle that speaks volumes without a single word. This isn't just hope. It's a divine certainty, a tender assurance that the love you shared will find its perfect, eternal expression, cradled in the heart of a Creator who forgets nothing that is loved. The crushing weight of grief, once a seemingly unbearable curse, an open wound in my soul, transformed in that sacred moment into an unexpected gift. What I perceived as a weakness, my desperate yearning for answers, my inability to reconcile such pure love with mere extinction, was, in fact, the very catalyst for this profound revelation. It was my heart, broken open by loss, that became fertile ground for a truth so tender, so encompassing, it reshaped everything. The initial problem, the haunting question of where do they go, no longer felt like a void, but a doorway. My sorrow, far from being a sign of spiritual fragility, was revealed as a testament to the depth of love I was capable of, mirroring a divine love far grander than I had dared to imagine. Could such profound vulnerability truly be the path to the most breathtaking insights into the Creator's boundless compassion, turning our tears into a conduit for grace? This overwhelming generosity of a Creator whose love is so complete, so breathtakingly beautiful, truly weeps with us in our loss. It was revealed that God's boundless affection, manifest in Christ, is so infinitely vast, so utterly encompassing, that it does not forget a single beat of a loving heart, nor a single wag of a tail, nor a single purr of contentment. Our animals, in their pure innocence and unconditional love, are not just creatures. They reflect a perfect, untainted aspect of God's own character. And that perfection, that pure love they embody, is not extinguished by death. How could such a divine reflection simply cease to exist? Instead, it is transformed, held securely in the divine embrace, awaiting the full restoration of all things. Can you feel the profound peace that washes over you, knowing that the very essence of their being is cherished and preserved in the heart of the eternal? This revelation isn't merely about their survival. It's about the profound, overwhelming generosity of a creator whose love is so complete, so breathtakingly beautiful, that it promises a future where all good things, all pure loves, are eternally preserved and made new. The initial sorrow, the ache that lingered like a phantom limb, now blends with an overwhelming joy, a sense of profound catharsis. The silence that once echoed with absence is now filled with the whisper of eternal promise, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of a restored Eden. My heart, once shattered, feels entirely mended, not by forgetting, but by understanding that the love I shared was never truly lost, only transformed into something more glorious and enduring. Can you now feel the profound peace, born from the depths of personal grief and this divine encounter, knowing that in God's infinite plan, love always finds its way home? So what does this profound revelation mean for your daily life, especially in moments of grief or questioning? It means embracing the undeniable truth that your love for them was never in vain, and the pain you feel is a sacred testament to a connection forged in divine compassion. Live each day with the knowledge that every gentle touch, every shared moment of joy, every act of kindness you extended to your animal companion was a reflection of God's own boundless care for His creation. Find deep, abiding peace and understanding that their journey, however brief, was profoundly meaningful, and their pure essence is eternally held within the heart of a loving Creator. Let this truth mend your broken heart, not by erasing the memory of loss, but by filling it with an eternal hope and a quiet certainty. True love, in its purest form, never truly dies, but transforms into something even more glorious, enduring beyond all earthly bounds. Embrace this present moment with renewed compassion for all life, recognizing the sacred value in every creature. As the final rays of twilight kiss the horizon, painting the sky with hues of eternal promise, a profound peace settles over the quiet landscape of your soul. The phantom ache, once a relentless companion, is replaced by a gentle warmth, a certainty that the love you shared, like a distant star, never truly fades but continues to shine brightly in the boundless cosmos of divine affection. You are left not with emptiness, but with a tapestry woven with golden threads of cherished memory and an unshakable hope, knowing every innocent life, every pure heart, is held securely in the Creator's tender embrace. This quiet understanding now becomes your renewed purpose: to live with compassion that mirrors the divine, to cherish every fleeting moment, and to see in every creature a reflection of that same eternal love, carrying its light forward, ever onward, into the dawn of a beautiful, promised day. As these profound truths settle within your heart, transforming grief into a vibrant hope, I invite you to share your own reflections. In the comments below, tell us the name of a beloved animal companion who touched your life in an unforgettable way. How did their pure, unconditional love shape your understanding of compassion, or even of God's boundless grace? We genuinely want to hear your unique story, to create a space where these cherished memories can resonate with others, reinforcing the universality of this divine connection. And as you ponder these revelations, perhaps watching from a place where the sun is just beginning to set, or where the day is brightly dawning, take a quiet moment to reflect on the miracle of life all around you. What time is it for you right now, in this shared moment of reflection and eternal promise, as you feel this renewed sense of peace?